stand up and we're going to sing together. Hi, Craig. We are going to sing God is My Source. And we're going to sing it out.
2,
3, 4. Here we go. God is my source. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Love is my source. Love is my power. Love gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Love gives me everything I need. Peace is my source. Peace is my power. Peace gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Peace gives me everything I need. Joy, let's be joyful. Joy is my friend. Joy is my power. Joy gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Joy gives me everything. Let's go back to God is my hope source. God is my power and my hope. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Tag it. God gives me everything I need. And that is the truth. Amen. And so it is. So I'm just going to stay right here because it's kind of comfortable to just be in this spot. It's been a while since I've been here in this spot.
like having you in that spot.
Oh, it's been what, 8 months since I leaped over there? Thank you, Rene, for giving me this opportunity today. I'm grateful. So let's settle into our opening prayer. Please join me. Let's close our eyes. And beloved presence, we come together with open hearts and minds this day, knowing that God is our source, God is our power, God is our strength and our hope, and we are most grateful for all of our many blessings. We know that God is all that we are, and we have all that we need. We recognize each other as the face of God, as the divine spiritual beings we are created to be, and we're happy to have this time together to inspire, empower, and uplift each other. We know that the presence of God flows in, out, through, and as each one of us. Thank you for a divinely guided service, for a beautiful message and music today. We know that the bond of love, peace, and joy that we share here at Unity of the Oaks will fill us full to overflowing and continue to spread this heaven on earth vibration and energy out into the world and beyond. Thank you for the blessing of everyone present, for this sacred space and this container of love. And so it is. Amen. Do we sing another song? Yes. Thank you. This one's for you too, Rene. You're invited to sing along. Most of you know the song. Be still, be still, and know I am. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know. Be still and know I am. still and know that I am peace. Be still and know. Be still and know that I am peace. Be still and know. Be still and know that I am peace. Be still and know. Be still and know I am. Let's do love. Be still and know that I am love. Be still and know. Be still and know that I am love. Be still and know. Be still and know that I am love. Be still and know. Be still and know I am. Be still and know I am. Be still and know I am.
Good morning. I'm Lucy, one of the members of the Unity of the Oaks prayer team. I will be available to pray with you after service. Now, let's prepare for our time of meditation with the reading of the daily word. And the daily word is grace. After our grace here in church. And the date is today's date. And the affirmation, through divine grace, I am abundantly blessed in every way. Grace is an awareness that wherever I am, God is. It is my reminder to let God be God in me. Grace assures me that I am never alone on my journey through life, that no matter what I do or fail to do, I am unconditionally loved and accepted at the level of spirit. Grace touches every area of my life. In a lonely moment, grace is the overwhelming awareness that I am loved. It is a surprising way through a challenge I consider unsolvable. It is my whole body suddenly glowing with the power of divine life, even as I experience a health challenge. These are just some of the many ways I experience grace. Grace need not be, nor can it be earned. It is a divine gift available at every moment. As I open my heart to divine grace, I am filled with indescribable peace. And from Hebrews chapter 13, verse 25, grace be with all of you. And again, our affirmation, through divine grace, I am abundantly blessed in every way. Amen.
So we're doing things a little differently today. Renee's going to do the meditation after the talk. So this song will sort of serve as the meditation song. Where I am, God is. Where I stand, God is standing strong. And where I breathe, God is breathing life in and out and through me. As me. And where I sing, God is. And where I dance, joy lifts my feet. And where I love, beauty's flowing free. In and out and through me. As me. And where I doubt, God is the faith in me. And where I cry, God is the comfort there. And where I seek, God is the answer. Here and now, forever and ever and ever. Where I speak, truth is. And where I work, love is my career. And where I play, God is playing boldly. In and out and through me. As me. Where I am, where I stay, where I play, where I work and breathe and move and be, where I sing, where I dance, my dance, my dance, wherever I go, where I pray and take and give and live. God is. Truth is. Love is. God is. God is. Thank you. So now I'm going to introduce somebody. And just hold on for a second, because I only am going to give you a brief history of some of our special guest, Dr. René Folse's many accomplishments. But you got to sit and grin and bear it. He got his bachelor's degree at Cal State University, Long Beach. Then he served briefly in the military, which I did not know, and went to the Republic of Vietnam. Then he decided to attend law school and practiced in Thousand Oaks as senior partner in a firm that he founded. He then went back to school and received a master's degree in psychology, followed by a PhD, and became a licensed clinical psychologist. After deciding that this was not his calling, which is why I sang Called to Be this morning, he gifted the law firm and its building to his colleagues and pursued other dreams, especially his passion for spiritual growth and the mystical, or mysticism. Rene's interests spanned from science, including astrophysics and astrophotography, what he calls the bigs, to microbiology, which he calls the smalls, and many other subjects in between. He prefers the term polymath to describe his life's work. A polymath is an individual whose knowledge spans many different subjects, known to draw on complex bodies of knowledge to solve specific problems. And he solves a lot of them for us here. He came in early on the day he's speaking to help me set up the sound and the cameras and the lights and everything else. Rene will speak with us today on the topic of spiritual psychology. Does it lead from frog to prince, or just frog to better frog? And I have a surprise for you. I wrote a song last night about your topic, but I was not ready to reveal it, so I will at some point for you. Let's welcome Rene.
How's that? Oh, I can't wait to hear what I'm going to say after that. I thought this was going to be about golf, so let me see if I can get this right for us. So I want to, I got my time there. Okay. We're going to talk about spiritual psychology. Does it lead from frog to prince or frog to better frog? I have my glasses here so I can read my notes, but it makes me look more like a psychologist. I'll tell a funny story. When I passed the exam to be a psychologist, you had to go through a written one, which is national, then an oral with 2 people. I had no idea. So you could go through training for the oral exam with a tutor. So I show up in my lawyer costume, white shirt, cufflinks, red, and she looks at that and she goes, "What are you wearing?" And I go, "What?" And she goes, "You will flunk if you wear that to the oral exam." So she had to write out what to wear. I tried to find it for today, but it was like a tweed coat, and I had to get those little leather things they sew over the arms, pants that didn't match but kind of matched, but weren't ironed real good. I didn't want to smoke the pipe. That was a little bit for me. And when I showed up at my second oral training, she goes, "You might pass, dummy, but at least you look right." So anyway, I got through it. And I'm glad she was so hard on me, by the way, too, because the oral part was pretty hard. All right, so we're going to talk about spiritual psychology today. This is important because we start with that caricature of me, and it says, first deal with the bull, then go for the brass ring. And the point of that is that not everything I learned for 30 or 40 or 50 years got me there. So today we're talking about the better parts. And so I went through psychology, and all of those words kind of match that. And then, but I want us to not be contained by academic psychology. And the word psychology derives from the Greek word psyche, for spirit or soul. And logia, which means study or research. So despite the academics I had to live through to get the official little degree, in my mind, I had freedom under starting with psychology because I didn't know where do you start? I don't know anything. I'm a lawyer, for goodness sakes. All right, so let's, the part that got me out of academia, by the way, was reading a book by Shirley MacLaine years ago. And she made famous the Bodhi Tree bookstore on Melrose. And so I again have my nerd costume on with the cufflinks, and I get off the freeway coming back from LA, and I walk in there, and all the people in there's eyes just popped open and go, where did he come from? And when I walked down an aisle, everybody moved to a different aisle. Nonetheless, that was an epiphany moment, the Bodhi Tree bookstore, because I walked in there thinking all there was to know about spirituality was a Bible. Okay, one book. And you walk in there, and there are rooms and rooms and rooms of books. And I couldn't believe, I did not know there was that much written. And you go in the traditions for the Eastern, and they had a Christian tradition and the Hindu tradition. Whew, so I caught my breath. Believe it or not, I read my way across that bookstore. And I would stop off, and you can ask Joan, I would stop off and pick up about $250 worth of books, and that would last me a few weeks, bring them home, read what I wanted, and move on. So today we're going through all of that. So let's go to the next slide, Summer. And the schools of thought and psychology is the academic part. But it's not worthless. I mean, it's phenomenal, the things I learned, and I'm going to tell you those. But these little circles here, I'm going to call those rabbit holes, because my journey, the way I saw it is I was like Alice in Wonderland, out jumping through rabbit holes. And I got to go out in this big backyard and find a rabbit hole and just dig on down through it. And then when I got out, come up, clean off the dirt, and go in the house and have dinner. So these are some of my rabbit holes. When I looked at the school of psychology thought, you kind of had to pick one. So I psychoanalysis, that was Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud. Later, that was very important. But at the beginning, not so. Skinner, B.F. Skinner, that was, pure behaviorism. And I said, well, that's not interesting to me. But later, I found out when I started doing work with special ed advocacy, which I did for 15 years after I got rid of my firm. And by the way, Carrie Bowers, I'm going to give her a shout out. She came today. She was the founder of Pause for Kids, a nonprofit, and headed up what I did with maybe hundreds of parents and their children. A very rewarding time in my life, and I owe it to her and her son and her family for having done that at Pause for Kids. And by the way, in Pause for Kids, I couldn't do what I did without having the most powerful parents on the planet. So she was one of the most powerful moms I ever met, and recruited about 7 or 8 powerful moms. And I would walk out and say, I'd sure like to find somebody that would do this. And one of my programs was talking about the pandemic, language for kids, that's body language. And I explained to her what to do. And she came back 2 days later. She goes, I have Joey Travolta, John Travolta's brother, who's an acting teacher. And we can bring all the kids in, and they can act. And as they act, they've got to act out happy, sad, mad, or glad, which is pragmatic communication, which they don't get. And the other half of the group had to judge. When Joey would say, was that happy, sad, mad, or glad? And they'd vote. And then they'd trade and do it again. And it worked out. Joey Travolta had a degree in special ed in New York. That was the magic this woman and the fellow parents did, which is part of what I learned right here with the behavioral psychology. A doctor from UCLA, Lavas, came up with the first treatment for autism to teach them speech. And it was his research that opened the door to those youngsters becoming adults that could speak language, and I thank the Pause for Kids team. With that being said, I picked Gestalt. Why? Because it just made sense to me, and that was Fritz Perls, and Gestalt is what you see. And the basis of Gestalt is the 2 glasses. Some people, the same half full glass. Some people in the world are going to complain because the glass is half empty. But the same half, the other half of the people walk in and say, wow, I have a full glass, which is Sherry's work, which is part of the unity message, it's the power of positive thinking. Find the love and the goodness that you have. It's that sort of thing. So I ended up with that lesson from Gestalt, but I'm going to walk down to this bottom box and tell you another important person was the trainer, psychologist that I had to do 3,000 clinical hours of training. And so he had a message for me. And after being there a year or so and doing through it, he came up and goes, Rene? I go, what? And his name is Ellis. I go, what, Ellis? And he goes, healing happens at the level of religion. True healing happens at the level of religion. I go, oh, no. Ellis, I don't want to get into that. And then he goes, all right, Rene, I'm going to explain what I meant. Religion is, everyone has a religion. Religion is how a person thinks the universe works. An atheist has a religion. The atheist religion is this hostile place. You die, it's over. You know, you run from pitfall to pitfall. That's their religion. And so that creates the gestalt of their life. And you can't change that. The frog to prince doesn't happen. But if you work with them, they will give up little mean pieces. And, you know, with a maybe, you know, it's an awful world. Well, do you think it might be someplace where it's not awful? Possibly. So it's mostly an awful world. That is curing somebody at their level of religion. That's going to come back later. Let's get to the guy at the bottom, Carl Rogers. That kind of psychology was called humanistic psychology, or the third wave, which, and Fritz Perls' Gestalt kind of overshadowed that. So let's go to the next slide. And I learned about Carl Rogers, and his whole psychology is love, basically. Except he's an academic, so he can't use the word love. So he has other words to use it. But he you know, positive seeing of the client, that sort of thing. And I learned this at Camarillo State Hospital. Remember that used to be there? All right, I did my first 1,800 hours of the 3,000 clinical internship, best years of my life. Psychotic adolescents, loved them all. But after a week or two, I'm going, how do you do psychotherapy? So, I mean, these are psychotic. They don't, the English, they don't speak words. They're hallucinating. So I walked into Hank Marshall, a psychologist, and I said, Hank, how do I do psychotherapy? And he goes, here's what you do. You've now learned the difference between psychotherapy and a psychotherapeutic relationship. Just love them. And I go, I don't need a PhD for that. And he goes, no, you don't. I don't even need a license for that. He goes, no, you don't. So all I got to do is love these kids. And he goes, that's all you got to do. I hate to say it. Woohoo! And so, I mean, I just loved the kids. And they got better. And I went on into a ward of 30 kids. And I don't want to get through the whole story, but what I learned about Carl Rogers is that actually the centerpiece of healing everything is love. And Carl Rogers said it plainly with his humanistic psychology. All right, let's go to the next slide, and we'll do a little meditation here. Another thing that I learned when I was in private practice by the same person that told me everyone needs a religion, I did psychotherapy. I'm not a psychotherapist, but I had to pass a license. And I encountered some very, very sick people. And so I was shown this. He said, Rene, the sickest people you will see in psychotherapy have never experienced love a day in their life. They're brutalized, they're sexually abused, and they have no clue. And it's in their psyche. The middle group is people that have experienced love, but for them, it's love attached to a person, place, thing, or event. When this person's here, I feel love. When I'm in Lake Tahoe, I feel love. When those are gone, I don't, and those are their miserable ups and downs of life. The healthiest people on the planet is love just is, which is the core of unity. Love is the love of God. It's there. It's nothing you have to do to earn it, nothing you can do to foul it up. Just ask for it and you get it. So now I have, going back to Carl Jung, I took a lot of training from René Folse, a lovely person from UCLA, in guided imagery. And that was the Hans Carl Luhner technique. She taught psychiatrists at UCLA to do guided imagery. She had a French accent, and she would laugh when she gave a seminar. Ho, ho, ho. I'm the only one at UCLA Medical School with no college degrees of any kind. That is René Folse. So now, this is sort of a guided image for our meditation for a few minutes on this concept right here. And I'm going to assume that some of us maybe, and there's a lot of people, I don't know all of you, a lot of people know love just is, but those can't be just words. That has to be the experience. Everything I'm saying today are words. Words are at most pointers. So the meditation is on love just is, and I've done this individually by doing a guided image. So let's close our eyes right now, and I'm going to bring you on a guided image. And here's what I want you to do. Sometime in your life, you have had the most memorable experience you've ever had. It could have been childbirth. It could have been a wedding. It could have been a trip somewhere. But you know it. You've never forgotten it. And I want you to remember it right now. Spend the time to find it. And as you remember it, start to make it real. Start to feel it. If you were outdoors, start to breathe the air. Feel it. Look up and see the sky. And at that spot where you felt the best you have ever felt in your lifetime, start to feel it. Just start to let that same exact feeling come to you. It's so beautiful. You've never forgotten it. So just let it come to you. And you know how beautiful it is. You've never forgotten it. In this setting, indoor or out. And just let it come. Just let it come. And enjoy it to the best exact extent you have ever remembered it. But I want you to remember it right now and feel it right now. It's beautiful. Get a smile on your face if it wants to smile. Feel the peace of that moment. I mean, just really feel the peace of it. As powerful as it was when you first did it. And it feels so good. Just keep it in your mind. There's no rush here. It is so good. Just enjoy it. This is your moment. And you've brought that moment right here, right now. And it's beautiful. I can see it. And we can all feel it. And just let it just become stronger and stronger. It is so beautiful, so peaceful, so loving. It is the best experience you've ever had. And all of us have one. Now, I want you to notice as you are feeling that right now, that you're feeling it now, even though it was triggered by what's in your image. It was triggered by where you went, or who you were with, or what you were doing. That triggered it. But this very day, in this very room, you get to feel it. So feel it. But notice it is not attached to the person, place, thing, or event that triggered it. You are able to bring it here today. And if you could bring it here today, you could bring it here any day. You could bring it here all day. You could bring it all day for the rest of your life because you own it. You own the feeling, which is the best feeling of your life. It is yours. So let's make a couple affirmations, and you could say them aloud or say them quietly. I claim this feeling. I claim this experience. I love this experience. This experience is love. I experience it today by just asking for it. I didn't have to have a person, place, thing, or event. I owned it, and I was able to close my eyes and feel it. Love just is. From now on, I will claim what I own in the good times or the bad times, no matter what. No outside experience has control over this. And this is the only rule I need to know. All right, spend a few more moments in this experience. It's yours. It's beautiful. It's the best experience you've ever had. You brought it here right now. And you affirmed your ownership over it. Feel some gratitude in your gratefulness for what you own. I am grateful for what I own. Okay, now, I don't come back from meditations. So we're not going to wiggle toes or anything like that. The message here is that these experiences, you can call it a meditation, you can call it whatever you want, but these experiences belong all day, not just at a special time. They belong with you all day, every day, no matter what happens on the outside. So you may or may not open your eyes to hear what else I have to say. Bring that feeling with you. You own that. All right. Whew. I got to go sit down. Okay, now I've shown you a lesson in love. Love just is. I've shown you a Jungian practice called guided imagery from Hans Carl Luhner, conveyed to me by Marielle Fuller at UCLA. Very powerful. And with that, this was what I tried to do with those sickest of patients. And it isn't frog to prince, But if you've experienced it, it's a lesson now for you to take home and remember it and expand on it and make it better, because love just is, and it's up to you. You did it today. Didn't even take me 5 minutes. I didn't do it. I just said a few words. It was in you, not me. You got it. You don't need me. Unfortunately, I don't get to bill your insurance company, but you don't need me. All right. Let's go to the next slide, because I think I'm losing track of my time here. All right. We'll quickly go through it. That's the Hans Carl Luhner from that. There's a lot of literature on that. Ervin Laszlo, Self-Actuating Cosmos. Using imagery or going inside, you can access anything. Anything. Carl Rogers recognized it. Jung recognized it. Jung defined the collective unconscious as a species-typical repository of ancestral history and memory accumulated over evolutionary time. They now call it the Akashic Record. It's no difference. It's one record. It's all there for you. The memory you retrieved today was in the Akashic Record, or you're in consciousness, or use the word you want. Let's go to the next slide. So now I'm starting to get a little bit out of the academic, but maybe not. What are things you can access in the unconscious? Everything. Now, one rubric, there's not a lot of rubrics to help you visualize this, and these are words, not the experience. You've ever heard of clairvoyance? Okay, that's clair means clear, voyance means seeing. So clairvoyance can do clear seeing. Clairaudience is clear hearing. You have clear touching, they feel on their body. Clairsentience is clearing the feeling. I'm going to stop on that one because everyone in this room has one of them at least. They're not exclusive. Mine is clairsentience. I feel. And I can understand somebody by just feeling them. I walk into a room and whoa. I mean, just whoa, and there it is, and you feel them. That's clairsentience. And I wished I had others, but that's my main one. I also I don't have clear smelling, but I have clear cognizance, clear knowing. That's Einstein. He just sits in a room, and all of a sudden, boom, he knows some big rule of physics. So scientists have these big bursts of intuition with a clear sense. Some might think it out step by step, but you can also get it by a clear sense. I sort of have that one. Now, and there's a clear empath, the people that feel other people's feelings a lot. I want you to know that the point of this slide is all of you have one or more of these. Recognize it, embrace it, use it. And then there are textbooks written on it. Russell Targ and research, because I'm a doubting Thomas. I wasn't an easy guy to convince. I call myself a open-minded skeptic. All right, I'm open-minded, but let me see. So clairvoyance was studied by Russell Targ. He was paid to do it by the CIA for 25 years out of Stanford Research Institute right here in California called SRI. He proved with science that clairvoyance can actually find where the Russians have bombs and all the things the CIA wanted. But he found much more. And clairvoyance can actually see things and write it down. He's got books written. Go to YouTube and just type in Russell Targ, and you will find out all about it. All right. Another one is mind over matter. Can I actually move matter? Well, that was Princeton, the PAIR lab, Princeton Engineering Anomalies Lab, studied mind over matter and proved that, I mean, it's not, I can't move, this podium over, but what they proved is that with a random number generator, by concentrating, you could have more than 50-50 in 1,000 tries, which should be red or black, like in Vegas. they could force it to be more often one than the other, over and over and over. And then they said, well, there's something wrong with your generator. So then he got an atomic clock, and he did it over and over, and it was so repeatable of mind over matter. And it's all in literature, published in scientific journals, and it worked. The government, of course, except they then hired people to figure out, how do I mask all the electronics in a jet airplane so mind over matter can't mess with it? I don't know if they figured it out. But that's all in lots of literature. Next slide. Let's get, Rene, I'm slowing up here. So let's go to the next slide. There was one psychologist, William James, who wrote a classic book called The Varieties of the Religious Experience, and it was beautiful. It was written in 1901 to 1902. It's remained in print for over a century, and it's a classic because he went across all of the spiritual traditions. He didn't understand them much, but he concluded as a psychologist, all of them increased the human experience, that people that followed had some religious tradition, had a better life, better psyche, better psychology, so it got his blessing. What was interesting to me is 2 of his chapters were on mysticism. So that's an open source book. You can get it anywhere. Let's go to the next slide. Finally, and Craig Schumacher's here in the back, who's going to do the comedy on later this afternoon. And here's a shout out for Craig on this slide. Along the way, Martin Seligman, who was the president of the American Psychological Association, said, psychology's off on the wrong leg. It wants to fix sick people. What are you going to do for people that aren't sick and you want to make them better? So he coined the phrase here, positive psychology. So there's now a branch of psychology called positive psychology. I'm not going to read all of these little things, but over here in my nerd lawyer costume, you'll see I'm on the justice finger there. And positive psychology talks about citizenship, fairness, leadership, so forth. I guess I didn't get the memo back then, but I'm over here now on this side. So they have spirituality there is on their radar. Guess what? Just above it, humor. And so that's what Craig is saying with his message in humor that he will give us today at 2 to 4, is that it is positive psychology, and the psychologists admit that now. And the psychologists are publishing literature and doing studies on that now. So there is this light at the end of a tunnel. Here was my epiphany moment. So we're now going to go to the next slide right here. I went to a seminar at UCLA, and I walked in the door. And I got there early because I had to drive, and I'm sitting there kind of wake up, waiting for a boring seminar. And on the blackboard, he had these 2 like hills with an opening, a cave, one hill and the other. One hill said seminar on God. The other one said God. And he drew all these people lined up in seminar on God. And I looked at that, and I looked at that, and I started to get it. And the teacher was there. And I said, what's the message of that? And he goes, everybody's lined up at the wrong door. Oh, I didn't even need to sit. I got it. I mean, that was my turning point. I went home, took all my used books back to the Bodhi Tree bookstore. They had a used store back store back there. I told the guy, sell these. And he goes, I can't even figure out how many you've got. I don't care. Figure it out when you can. How much ever you want, sell them, send me a check. I don't need these anymore. So I'm saying that's mysticism. I didn't know it when I read this slide. Next slide. So coming from what I was taught as a therapist about working on everybody's religion under his definition, defined as how the universe works. And I was having every kind of definition known to man. And I coined a funny bumper sticker. I said, if that's what religion is, my bumper sticker is, I've given up searching for the truth. All I want now is a great fantasy. And I came to the conclusion, and what I want to say is everyone's path is different. So what I happen to have seen and agreed to may not be yours, and I'm very open to that. But there is no universal theology. All explanations of a universal experience are less than adequate and will differ from tradition to tradition, from culture to culture, and among religions big and small. I call that truth with a small t. Truth was a big T. That truth is going through the door with a name on it that says God and find out for yourself. I call that the direct path, and those of you who have come to my meditations understand what I'm doing. So I had to take off my bumper sticker. I decided to seek the universal mystical experience. Go to the next slide, and we're about to wrap up here. All right. What I found out about mysticism is that it's everything works. There isn't a tradition or a path. They're obscure, though. They're hard to find. But if you look at Christianity, by the way, the outer part of this bullseye are just the words. So if you're into the Bible and literalism, that's truth with a small t. And it's not an experience, it's just words that you word after word. And all of the traditions, Judaism have their Torah, Islam has its, Buddhism has its. But in an inner ring is the literature they have on mysticism. In Christianity, it's called Gnosticism. And that was disfavored because it was disfavored in the early Judaic, Abrahamic religions. Why? Because you didn't need a church and you didn't need any authority. It was just up to you. But the Roman Empire didn't quite see it that way. But the Gnostic literature was hidden until 1945 at the Nag Hammadi dig. They found 10 or 11 missing Gospels of the Bible, several of which were Gnostic, one of which is the Gospel of Mary, they say, which was written by Mary Magdalene, a mystic. And Mary Magdalene claims to have been the closest to Christ and taught the best of the secrets. The Roman Catholic Church, which was my tradition, a few years ago, for some reason, transformed Mary Magdalene from the biblical version where she was a prostitute to now she's proclaimed a saint and called by the Roman Catholic Church the Apostles' Apostle. We only have half of our gospel that we got from the fragments. It's still beautiful. So is the gospel of, I think it's Thomas. My point is the literature is there. I picked Hinduism. Why? Because their literature is more available, and especially the Upanishads. But my point is that everything works. And this wheel over to the right, when I started reading the Eastern literature, and I can do a whole seminar on that, what I was concerned with is, well, what about all the people that don't do something mystical? What do they get? So I saw this wheel of yoga, and there isn't just one yoga. There's karma yoga. Well, that's Mother Teresa. So if you do good deeds, lots of karma, that kind of rules me out. I go outside and I go, how am I doing? He goes, nah. At any event, mine was Jnana Yoga, which is the path of knowledge, deemed the hardest path, and it was for reasons. But Bhakti Yoga, that's the path of devotion. Now, when I went to the Catholic churches, you walk out, there are women in the back with rosaries every day, and they go through it, and they go through it. My grandma, after she did all of her work, and we went to sleep, would sit in a rocker and say her rosary. That's Bhakti Yoga, the yoga of devotion. Yoga of devotion. So my saying is, find your path. They all work. Course in Miracles, I don't have time to go into that, but it helps you unlearn so that all of the things that interfere with a direct experience are taken care of. My point of the slide is that, believe it or not, that was written by a psychologist. And the book is anonymous because she didn't want her name on it. And she was a professor at Columbia University. And she wrote it. And by the way, she was Jewish. A Jewish professor wrote a Christian book and then left her name off of it because she didn't want to lose her job. But it's an excellent book, and I spent about 10 years with this man, Tara Singh, as my teacher. And all he ever said was, it's just words. Words don't mean anything. It's got to go to your heart. And I go, what do you mean? I read it. I could read it back to you by heart. And I had to understand the hard way what he was trying to say. Here's the end. I can reduce all those books, all of those seminars to be still and know God. I want to say that, and this is in Psalms, by the way, but it's everywhere. It's in a lot of literature. That's mystical. All you got to do is be still and know God. You don't need to know anything else. The I am, I choose that out because you have to learn who you are. And all of the literatures in Christian literature is called a soul. And then you go, what's a soul? You go through all of it. They don't tell you what a soul. What's a soul? Psychologists say, well, there's this thing called consciousness. And nobody knows what consciousness is. We can't find it in the brain. It's the biggest mystery in all of the sciences right now is what is consciousness. My tip to you is that if you spend the time to discover who you are your soul, what the psychologists call your just pure consciousness. It can't die, can't get hurt, doesn't need food. It is it is the knower. Be still and know God. The knower is you, your soul, pure consciousness. Never left the vision of God. All the noise of life just made you not hear it anymore. It was always there. So I'm going to give an advanced course on this, and we're going to work on a lot on this sentence. Go back at a little psychology that help you. Believe it or not, be still and know God isn't just, okay, I got it, Rene, I'm done. It isn't just that. I'm now learning, okay, I can start to drop off words, be still and know, but I need God first. I call it vertical. That keeps me straight. So I have that connection. Well, be still and know. Well, that's what Einstein did. So it'll answer all the other questions you have. Then, well, okay, be still. Well, once you learn how to be still, you don't need that word. And at the end, there's only one word, be. Just be. It's one word. Nothing else matters. One word. However, that's an experience, not a word. And if you can get to be still and know God, and then work your way back one word at a time and just be, I think you go frog to prince. But I'm not going to put any money on it. Anyway, that's all I have to say. I lost track of my time here. So I'm sorry if I ran over.
Awesome. Let's give him another round. What a journey. Today is the day I will change my luck. I will find 3 pennies and they'll be heads up. I will walk like a queen in my tennies and jeans, 'cause I know where I come from. From the stars and the sun, from the magical one. I am part of this thing called life, yeah. From the known to unseen, everything in between. I am part of this thing called life. I am one with this thing called life. A little faster. Yes, Yes, today is the day I'll remember to see only good, only God happening through you and me. I will not forget all the treasures due me, 'cause I know where I come from. Where? From the stars and the sun, from the magical one. I am part of this thing called life, yeah. From the known to unseen, everything in between. I am part of this thing called life. I am one with this thing called life. Speed up! Yeah, today is the day I'll be more of myself. Love my skin, where I've been, and everyone else. No more push, no more pull. Simply flow as I go, 'cause I know where I come from. Sing with us. From the stars and the sun, from the magical one. I am part of this thing called life, yeah. From the known to unseen, everything in between. I am part of this thing called life. From the stars and the sun, from the magical one. I am part of this thing called life, yeah. From the known to unseen, everything in between. I am one with this thing called life. I am one with this thing called life.
Good morning. That was amazing, Renee. Thank you so much. So awesome. I am Jules, your board member of the day. Here is our mission, if you will please read it with me. Unity of the Oaks is a loving, accepting, and heart-centered spiritual community here to be love in action, to encourage personal growth, awaken spiritual curiosity, and transform lives. If you would like to bless us with a love offering, we have several ways for you to give. In the seat in front of you are envelopes for cash or for check. Make sure to please include your name if you'd like a record for your donation. You'll also find our text to give information, and at any time you can also visit our website to give. If you've given electronically, please just bless the basket and pass it along. Now let's take a moment to focus our attention on our giving heart. As we feel the abundance of receiving, we visualize the mission statement coming to life. Now join me in the love offering blessing. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give in love and I trust God. We are most grateful for all of your contributions to our community as it grows with lots of events and classes, which is what Lana or Lana? Am I saying that right? Lana is going to tell us all about. I think she's behind me, maybe. Oh, there she is.
Hello, it's another busy week at Unity of the Oaks. The service outreach meeting today is postponed until October. More information on the date and time will be coming shortly. Today from 2 to 4, we are hosting our friend and renowned comedian Craig Shoemaker once again, who will fun-slate his seminar Winning with Laughter for those that missed it and want to attend. Everyone is welcome to join us. Go get lunch and come back. This workshop is sure to infuse your world with more love, light, and levity. Get your midweek meditation fixed Wednesday night at 7 p.m. This week is with Jack Lee, Rev Sherry, and Rick. Valerie Kobabe will be hosting the Grief Support Group on Friday, September 13th at 1 p.m. here at Unity of the Oaks. All are welcome. René Folse is hosting his workshop, Spiritual Psychology. Does it lead from frog to prince or just frog to better frog? From 10 to 1 on September 14th with lunch included. Follow René's spiritual journey from a master's and doctoral program in psychology through the labyrinth of academia and the magical Bodhi Tree bookstore on Melrose in Los Angeles. Discover how he reduced what he learned to just 5 words: be still and know God, what is known in ancient traditions as a direct path, and how those 5 words can be reduced to just one: be. This information can always be found in the email newsletter we send out each week, so make sure you are signed up. And now, Rev Sherry.
Thank you, Lana. That was awesome. So first of all, I want to thank Rene, Dr. René Folse, for that awe-inspiring message today. We're so grateful to have you and your brilliance in our midst and in our lives and in our family. We appreciate you so much. Thank you. And next, I want to shout out to Jaylene, our teacher in Songbird, because we accidentally left her off of the list of September birthdays. Her birthday is this week, September 13th. So happy birthday, dear one. Is she in the back? There she is. Hi. Sorry we didn't have you in there. Your mom put you in and said, uh-oh. Okay. And I want to say a special thank you to our director behind the curtain, Bill Lay. Thank you for helping us out and filling in for Layla. And our lovely Sue Wan for doing our sound today and supporting us. And she'll be here for the workshop this afternoon. Thank you for filling in for Tommy. We're so grateful you could be here. And our amazing music team, thank you for supporting me, backing me up today. So I'll lead the peace song, then we'll have fellowship, and life will go on. Love you all. Let's stand and sing. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, let's be the moment. Now, did I forget it? With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. In our prayer for protection, the light of God surrounds us. We are the light. The love of God enfolds us. We are the love. The power of God protects us. We are the power. And the presence of God watches over us. We are the presence. Wherever we are, God is. And all is well.
Well done, fellas. Nice going, nice going.